So I've been toying with that idea, and so I'm trying to like figure out how to do that. I know there's going to be an AI bot out there in the future that will basically allow you to train it to think like you, and it's coming. But the sooner you're able to do something, it's the sooner it will allow you to jump on the curve before other people are doing it, and then that'll give you a pretty good advantage. So I just thought I would throw that out there about another thing that you can process. It's just creativity and how to get there.
So I think the great conversation we're rolling into now is like, look, can you build a lead machine? Whether you're a syndicator, a lead is somebody with money that could come into your funnel that might be a potential investor. Or me, who arranges SBA financing and I sell franchises, businesses, getting a big funnel. But how do we then create systems, processes, and delegate and automate so we can live a life and not be like in this constant, rat race where we're running on this thing like a gerbil? And that's what we're really going to dive into with you guys right now, because that's important to me, because it's like, that's where you can move the needle the most. I can't continue to do the same things over and over again, because that's the definition of insanity. Now I need to really work on these frameworks. So let's just hypothetically, we can use me if you want. Let's show the world, some tools, some tips, some tricks to get them in the right mindset to think about some automations and delegations and systems to go with. However you want to start this.
Well, maybe what we can start with is maybe Vinney. We can, since what we talked about this morning with podcasts, right? It's simple process of podcast, okay? And then Bo, if this stokes any inspiration, we can go down that path. But here's what I see. When you do a podcast, it's actually pretty complicated logistically. If you think about all the pieces involved, you have to schedule 2 people, right, who have different schedules. Then you have to collect a bio. You have to get a headshot. You have to agree on a time, and then you both have to be available for the recording. And then afterwards, you have to store it somewhere and send it to a place where it can get processed, right? So most people, what they do is they reach out to their network and they simply like, hey, do you want to come on the show? And then it's a one-to-one type of situation, right? I'm really good at identifying the same variables that can be repeated every time and then packaging up into something that looks amazing. So the experience is better interacting with the process than it is with the person, believe it or not. It's a pretty low bar because, interacting with me is kind of, Anyway, I'm just kidding. So for Vinney's process, for instance, we took it from a manual process of someone reaching out to a potential guest to now creating a Google form where inside that form, right, people can provide their email address, their bio, their what their superpower is, their headshot. They upload everything there, right? Once that is complete, then they'll get an automated email or they'll get a little link to Calendly that says, okay, now that we have all of your information, go ahead and book a time here. So that takes away everything, because before, the process used to be you have someone come on, you record the podcast, and then you realize in production, oh my gosh, I don't have the bio for this person, or I can't do the thumbnail because I don't have their headshot, right? But by having it in a place where all the Google form responses are in one place, and then the spreadsheet, there's a spreadsheet behind it that automatically captures all of that information, including the link to the picture. Once a new row is added, you can go into Zapier and have Zapier send an email to both you and the guest saying, here's the link for the podcast recording in case they didn't catch it, right?
Yeah,
so doing all of that stuff, by thinking about the process, you're taking away the people that needs to be there to substitute for that. Because I know people that hire virtual assistants just to handle the scheduling of the podcast alone. That can be done by Google's Forms, and it can be done by Calendly, right? And you're spending a fraction of the price, even if it's a virtual assistant, by thinking about the process of what logically needs to happen and how can I walk them through the process easily so they know exactly what needs to happen first, and then get the result as the same at the end. So that's kind of the process there for a podcast recording.
Yeah,
I love it.
and let me. I want to dive into this a little bit more, because if you're a podcast or you want to get on shows to grow your brand, which most of us all do want to do this. The other thing too, like if you just take down the breakdown of one podcast, that's just like what you just described was amazing for the scheduling and for the actual.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a whole nother process for editing.
Yeah.
A whole nother process for distribution.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
what's the point of doing a 45-minute interview if we're not going to share the freaking content? If we're not going to share some clips and reels with the guest? If we're not going to tag the guest in LinkedIn and all these, like, I've shot so many podcasts, I've never done it correctly. So what if you had a system for every podcast you did, you created 20 or 30 pieces of content.
Yeah.
You tagged your guest. You had an email go out to your guest to help promote the event. They got a bunch of clips. They were stoked because you did great job with the editing. Now, instead of getting 1,000 views, you get 3,000 or 4,000 views. And you're doing more of what you want to do. And so we're like Vinney, myself, we're missing the boat completely on what needs to be done efficiently.
Not anymore.
Just one
not
podcast.
anymore. 2024.
Yeah.
2024. We are going to have all the gloves. We're going to be in the ring, in the boxing ring of marketing and digital. And Bo, you have really inspired me. I want to really give accolade. Bo and I have thinking what we did in the whole year. We want to do it in 1 month so that in January will be turbo, so that February can follow right after that and March, and we can 20x or 12x, whatever, No, go ahead, Bo. Yeah.
And Bo, just to give you a little bit about like what's happening in my brain right now as you say this, there's no reason why you couldn't. This is why, okay? Because you can use a tool like Descript, or you can use Otter even, and you can take the video, a 45-minute video, like just us talking right here, right? And we can basically deconstruct it into a transcript. And inside the transcript, there's going to be some great points that Sophie's made, that I've made, that Vinney's made, that you've made. And what we can do is identify those timestamps, or just use video editing software that automatically extracts those pieces, right? Then we take that transcript of what was said in that piece and then run that through an AI prompt to generate a viral like description for a LinkedIn post, for an Instagram post. And just by doing some magic on the back end with spreadsheets and tracking like where these files are and having a systemized process, you don't even need a virtual assistant to help you generate these posts. Because if you have a system from Opus, right, or from Opus.pro, or from Descript, pulling extracts out, the transcripts can automatically get put into a spreadsheet. And then with Zapier, it's looking at each individual cell, and it can run a prompt that then spits out another prompt, right? And then you can use Zapier to basically post that into social media without even having a person there. So I'm saying that there's a way to do all of this because we have so many tools available to us. And if you can imagine doing this through a system, if you take the time to build, even if you need a virtual assistant there to help pull the trigger or to extract certain clips or be a part of this process, it's going to be way easier on you time-wise and stress-wise, and on your sleep and on your nutrition, to have the system stepping in for you instead of you doing it yourself and putting this pressure on yourself.
This is so important. Like,
this is amazing.
Over the last 3 years, I've had over 1,000 booked appointments from my YouTube podcast and from guesting. Over 1,000 appointments. Now, if I had systems and processes and put out more content because of the systems and processes, we would 2 or 3x that number, which would mean 2 or 3x your revenue. So it's so powerful. And like, I feel that I've missed a lot because I've created so much content, right? Like, even going back and looking at your YouTube and seeing which retentions rates are getting high, and then doing a mashup of these videos, like, right? Like, why you already have hundreds and maybe thousands of hours of content. Why wouldn't you at least repurpose some of this stuff? Why wouldn't you get the most out of every video you did? And if you could systemize it and automate it and delegate it, who wouldn't want to pay a couple bucks a month to have that done for them?
Of course. And then why not add another layer onto this? Why not use the data of what YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook is telling you is getting the most views? And when you have that data, then you can pull more clips from those, from those guests and those ideas that are getting more views, and then you'll get higher quality retention, right? And then you'll get ideas on how to like grow your show past that, right? So we have all of these tools available, and you can do almost anything these days with AI and with external systems. It's just a matter of like how creative you are to tie them all together. That's really all it comes down to. A person like me, I can do it. Like I can pull all these things together. It's just a matter of like, what do you do? Because you can go in any direction infinitely, basically.
Well, yeah, and I guess for me, it's like I want to go big. I want to be posting instead of posting 2 or 3 times a day. I want to post and not spam, but I want to post 50 or 60 pieces throughout the platform. Good pieces, be able to track those pieces, and then create content that resonates. And then also be able to also use AI to catch trends. Like, for example, right now, SBA loan rates are very high because it's Wall Street Journal Prime Plus margin. I can refinance them. I caught that trend. I did videos around SBA refinance. Somebody found me on YouTube, number second search engine. Boom, 1.7 million refi. I make 1 point, and I
love it.
have the banker lined up, and I spend 30 minutes on it right now. How many times can I do that if I systematize more? So that's what excites me. That's because I want to automate and delegate and get it like to a point. And that's what I really
automate, prioritize, and delegate.
Right. So, Bo, one other thing that came to my mind too, and Vinney and I were talking about this morning, actually, out of pure coincidence. But like we've been finding on the social media platforms, including YouTube, that interactions, especially in LinkedIn, that's where my primary audience is. If you're not interacting with your audience, the algorithm doesn't reward you. It doesn't show you to people. So it got me thinking like, oh, well, how can we automate interaction? Because that's very hard to do because it's you responding to a lot of these things because there's a lot of variables, right? Like you have a post and there's other comments and, are you going to post something that makes sense there? So I was talking with Vinney, like, why couldn't I take all of my previous answers to other comments and other posts, right? And literally categorize them, right? And saying, here was the question, here's what I wrote. Here's the question, here's what I wrote. Here's the question, here's what I wrote. And like give a huge data set as well as a description of my personality to Claude, right? And then give a prompt so that you have an input field that comes in for whatever the response is, whatever post I want to respond to or I want my assistant to respond to. And then it takes the whole data set of everything or a large set of what I've already responded to in the past, how I've responded to certain things. Why couldn't I take that outsourced logic and have an easy button for my virtual assistant to be able to generate some coherent response that looks like me, right? And so I've been toying with that idea, and so I'm trying to like figure out how to do that. I know there's going to be an AI bot out there in the future that will basically allow you to train it to think like you, and that's coming. But the sooner you're able to do something like this, the sooner it'll allow you to jump on the curve before other people are doing it, and then that will give you a pretty good advantage. So I just thought I would throw that out there about another thing that you can process. It's just creativity and how to get there.
I love that. I love that. Can I just throw in something in Las Vegas? Actually, I was just there a couple of weeks, 4 weeks. One of the people, they came, they want to make a mini Vinney. I said, what do you mean by that? They said, well, Vinney, all these 3 books you have written, all the podcasts you have done, your academy, all the postings on social, we're going to feed it into this mini Vinney. And then people can interact with you on the computer. Oh my gosh.
So what is the name of this? We need to talk a little bit more about this.
We should talk about it, literally. And then Anshu Bansal, my good buddy and CEO of the Cloud Defense, he's designed the system where he says, Vinney, I'll capture you talking in a video. Now, Vinney is going to speak, and you could send whatever message you want to deliver to some client. It's going to be you talking that and delivering it. And it's going to be all in Excel. Oh my gosh, this is mind-boggling.
We totally have, like, we actually can do that with Descript. There's video editing software out there for people who are do video editing. Descript is it's not a timeline-based video editor, it's a transcript-based editor. So you can have it remove all the ums and ands and all of the filler words, but it also will help correct your eyes. So if you're actually reading from a prompt, it'll fix your eyes straight to the camera, and you can even train it to read your voice so that when you type out something, it can read it in your voice. So it already does that with some video software that's out there, and it's very cheap. It's $250 a year or something like that for people. So this technology is really